In this video, your Dungeon Master Dreadmoor gives you ratings for every second level spell for the Cleric in the Solasta 2 Early Access video game.
Alright, we're here to talk about the second level clerical spells. First up on the list would be Aid. We're going to rate these in a tier scale between S and E. When it comes to clerical spells, nothing really stands out here as far as like super strong at second level. So a lot of these will be ranked in the middle tier, and that's just because of how the early access is. Some of these spells aren't even being used yet, so it's hard for me to give you a full grasp on the actual rating. But as of right now in the early access, I'm going to rate them and kind of tell you what to take as far as early access goes. First up will be Aid. That is a distance of 30 feet on 3 different allies. Increases the target's maximum hit points by 5 and raises their current hit points accordingly. It lasts for 8 hours. It's something you'd want to put on your characters and have them, it's almost like an extra false life there. So say your characters don't have false life, or you want to place it on 3 different allies, it's something that you could definitely use as a cleric. So if I have to rate this, I'm going to give Aid a B tier. The reason it's not a C tier is the fact that it affects 3 different allies. So B tier for Aid. Next up will be Blindness. I've talked about this spell before when it comes to the cleric as well. It's going to be a C tier for me. The reason it's C tier is the fact that it's negated by a Constitution save, and then let's say you do get the first initial failure by the target, you are going to have them make another save each round, and it's Constitution, and most things you fight have a pretty good Constitution, so their chances of breaking the blindness are pretty high. So for me, Blindness is a C tier. Following that will be Calm Emotions. Now I do like what Calm Emotions is. It's got a distance 60 feet, a sphere of a 20-foot radius. It is a concentration, but all friendly creatures within a 20-foot radius gain immunity to charmed and frightened condition until the spell ends, which is 1 minute. If the creature was already charmed or frightened, the condition is removed, which is pretty good. But when it comes to the early access, this is not being used right now. So I would definitely rate this higher when the game comes out, because I can see a lot of this coming into play. But as of right now, on the early access, this is an E tier, something you don't need. I would see no use for this at all. So Calm Emotions and the early access, just early access, is an E tier. Following that will be Luster Restoration. Ends one condition of your target from blinded, paralyzed, or poisoned. Pretty good. It's a touch though. You have to get up and touch the target that you're trying to hit. The one good thing about it is a bonus action, so it will allow you to take another action after you cast this. So if I had to rate this, again, this is early access. I know this would come into play a lot more in the game when you're fighting a lot more spellcasters and a lot more things that can poison you and that kind of thing. But right now in early access, I'm rating this a D tier. D is in Delta. Next up, we got Enhance Ability. I've talked about this spell before. This is a 1 ally concentration. Grants the target advantage on their next ability checks and with a selected ability. It's an hour-long duration, and you can affect 1 extra target if you take the spell slot over 2nd level. But again, we're in early access, so that's not really even possible right now. But if I had to give Enhance Ability a rating right now for the Cleric, I'm going to give it a D tier. D is in Delta. Just not something that I would see you using right now. Following that will be Life Drain. Life Drain is a 120-foot attack. If it hits, it does 2d8 necrotic damage and grants you the same amount of damage you did back as temporary hit points. It's a pretty good spell. So if you have a cleric that you want to go ahead and use attacks with and then kind of get something back if you're getting hurt, I can see it being very good. So I'm going to give Life Drain for the cleric an A tier. The reason I give it an A tier for the cleric is sometimes your cleric has to be up close or somewhat involved in the fight, and it's kind of good to have those temporary hit points. So Life Drain is an A tier. Following that will be Find Traps. It's a sphere of 120-foot radius, so it kind of really will cover the whole field that you're trying to find. If you have a high perception, I don't see this spell being that needed. So if you have a character that's got a high perception, the spell is basically not used. So as of right now, I've never used this spell. I took it once and I casted it. Unfortunately, there was no traps in the area, but any traps that I was able to find through perception checks. So for me, early access on this, finding traps, is an E tier. I just don't think it's something you need to take a second level as a cleric. There's so many better options. With that being said, this is the better option. Prayer of Healing. This affects 5 different allies of your choice, and you cast this and it will give you 2 die hit points back and the benefits of having a short rest. And you can actually add another 1 die 8 healing per spell slot over second level, which won't come effect until they bring the full game out. But as of right now, Prayer of Healing, I'm going to give an A tier. It's something that you would want for your cleric. It's nice to have if you're finishing a battle and there's no camp spots or anything like that, and you need to kind of press on and your characters took a little bit of damage. I think it's something and I've used it multiple times in the game that I've played. I've played multiple versions of this game through different parties that I've had, and I've used this every time. So I'm going to give it an A tier. It's something that I've used and I can see people using for sure. So for a cleric, this is definitely an A tier. Prayer of Healing. Next up will be Hold Person. Hold Person's got a 60-foot range, and the target is paralyzed if they fail the Wisdom save. Downfall to that is they repeat the Wisdom save each round. The good thing about it is it's a Wisdom save, so a lot of creatures don't really have good Wisdom. So that's one benefit to it, and you can get an extra target per spell slot over second level, which again doesn't take effect on the early access. So for me, this is all day, and I think I've said this many times with the sorcerer and other stuff like that. This is a C tier. It really comes down to your build for the party, and this is something that you want to add to your repertoire. Then hey, go for it. But it's a C tier for me for the cleric. And last up on the list will be Protection from Poison. This is 1 ally, lasts for 1 hour, and it ends the poison condition, which if you have is pretty disgusting. Poison basically gives you a disadvantage on your attacks and saving throws. But for the duration, the target has an advantage in all save throws to avoid or end the poison condition. Plus you have a resistance to poison, so if you're fighting things that are giving you non-stop poison attacks, this is something you would want to put on your character. I could see uses for it in the early access, and that being said, where this may actually rate higher when the full game comes out, but I'm going to give Protection from Poison a B tier. This is something good for the cleric that can help out some of your allies who may be in the front line and are getting pummeled by poison, and you really don't want your character to have the poison condition. So Protection from Poison is a B tier for me. Alright, well that's going to end the clerical spells here. So take what I said and see if that helps you out in some of your party builds. But that's my rating for the clerical second level spells. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you at the next breakdown.
Thanks for joining me for the Solasta 2 spell ratings.